And you already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so YFN Lucci did the smart thing, man. Looks like he lawyered up, got with his attorneys, and said, man, I'm going to turn myself in because doing the race ain't what I'm looking for. So YFN Lucci, man, definitely must have got the notice that he was a wanted man and probably had a pretty good idea because of all the news outlets. I'm talking about CNN was posting this. I'm talking about all the major news outlets were posting that YFN Lucci was a wanted man. Now, there was actually a $5,000 reward for any information leading to the capture or finding of YFN Lucci, aka Rashawn Bennett. And YFN Lucci is allegedly wanted for the murder of a young gentleman, man, back in December, man. So it's a crazy situation. Now, for those of you who haven't checked my last video about this, you should check that out. But for those of you who need more information, we're going to get into those specifics and talk about this 911 call and play the 911 call that led to YFN Lucci's arrest. Now, before we get into all that, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And, man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, man, just to catch you guys up to speed. So on Tuesday, homicide investigators, they made a public plea and they were looking for help in locating a 29-year-old rapper by the name of YFN Lucci, aka Rashawn Bennett. And they were looking for him after two men were shot in December 10th in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, one of the gentlemen, he was taken to Grady Memorial Hospital and he was pronounced dead. And then the other gentleman, he went to a fire station and, man, I guess he went there to receive medical attention because they usually have EMTs on staff. And then I guess he survived his wounds. So they definitely had a situation where two people were shot and they linked those two situations back to YFN Lucci. Now, YFN Lucci for the last 2 days has been kind of quiet. Everybody been looking for him. They wonder what he was going to do. Is he going to try to do the race? And he said, no, buddy. I'm a lawyer up and put this money to work, which sounds like a smart move in my book. YFN Lucci turned himself in and his lawyer, man, he kept it short and sweet. Now, his lawyer said this to the news outlets that were present at the time. He said, the presumption of innocence is a fundamental constitutional right for every citizen. Beyond this, we have no further comment at this time. And his attorney, Mr. Thomas Reynolds, said to CNN, that will be all. So basically, just letting it be known that YFN Lucci is innocent until proven guilty, and he has that constitutional right. And right now, they don't have nothing to say. So Thomas Reynolds is on his job, and YFN Lucci, hopefully, man, got some really good legal counsel because he's going to need it. Now, most of the news and media have been actually reaching out to YFN Lucci's label or trying to get in contact with YFN Lucci himself to see what's going on and to get some type of statement. But, man, they've been quiet and they haven't answered any calls. Now, Think It's a Game Entertainment, I believe, is still YFN Lucci's label. He's been with them for a while. Remember, he just was in the news for some good news. I think he had like the #1 rap album for like a week this year. And his label had bought him a brand new car. It was like a lot of celebrating going down in Atlanta. And now, man, things seem to be just going in the wrong direction. So some of you might be asking, how did we get to this point? Well, we got to this point because of an anonymous call to 911. Now, I can't say it's anonymous because I don't believe they gave their name. But on the 911 call, you can hear that it was some young ladies who saw some disturbing stuff. And this was the 911 call that essentially led to the police being notified of a shooting victim. And this was also the 911 call where, man, they kicked off the entire case, man, because from this 911 call, you could tell it was something crazy going down and the police had to act on it. On the call, the young ladies, they mentioned an incident that can only be described as disturbing or troubling because, man, from their own admission, there was a guy who fell out of a car, a moving vehicle, and in this case, a white SUV, and that white SUV, after he fell out of it, man, just continued to speed off, and the gentleman fell out with a gunshot wound to the head. Now, officials, or I should say the law, is saying that this gentleman was James Adams, 28 years old, and he's the gentleman who later, passed away due to his injuries in the gunshot wound. Now, they're alleging that gentleman was with YFN Lucci in the vehicle, and that's what happened. But, man, let me do this. Let me play the actual 911 call so that way you guys can get an understanding of what went down.
Atlanta 911 for the 2679 was the address of your emergency. We need an ambulance. Somebody is laying out. Somebody, I don't know if he barely.
Let me connect you. Stay on the line.
Somebody just threw him out of the car.
Let me connect you to the ambulance.
Huh? He's still trying to fight for his life.
EMS, what's the address of the emergency?
Baby, can y'all please get an ambulance here? This man is dying. He's shot in the head.
So you heard from that 911 call that, man, they were very distraught. And it was a crazy scene because based on a lot of the reports, after the young lady saw the man laying out, he was pretty much taking his last breaths before, the EMS picked him up and he was taken to the hospital. But she said through her own admission that, man, she believes that, he had already passed away by the time they showed up to pick him up, man. So horrible scene, man. And that young lady's call is pretty much, what started this whole investigation, what started everything to begin with. Because had she not been there and nobody had seen it, nobody would have a description of the vehicle, which was a white SUV. Nobody would have been able to say that the young man was pushed out of the vehicle, which is now on record. And nobody would have been able to connect the SUV, the person being pushed out, and what happened and transpired afterwards, man. So an interesting situation, man. Like, it looked like she was legitimately trying to be a good Samaritan and save the dude's life. But, man, as we all know now, he didn't make it, man. It's a sad situation, man, gun violence and stuff, especially when it comes to these type of cases, because I'm wondering what led to all that. Why did it become a situation where someone felt that they needed to take this young man's life? I mean, he was only 28 years old. I mean, what did he do to anyone that took it to that level? I mean, you don't know exactly what took place. So I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but man, this is an interesting situation and a crazy one, especially when you throw in the fact that you have a superstar rapper who is being accused of taking part in this situation, man. YFN Lucci, for all intents and purposes, was gearing up to have a great 2021. But now it seems like a lot of those plans are going to be derailed, at least with him in the rap game, because he's going to be fighting this case, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money. Now, with that, hold up, before we get to that, what do you guys think? Do you think, man, that this situation just brings to light some of the violent interactions that need to be ousted out of the hip-hop game? Or is this just another unrelated issue that has nothing to do with rap and really a personal situation that took place against individual parties? Now, like I said before, YFN Lucci is innocent until proven guilty, and it's going to take him a lot of time and money to fight this case, and hopefully he had nothing to do with it. Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you get a notification every time I drop this hot content, and we out of here. Peace.